Um, Hold on, y'all, for a second. Give me just 1 second. Let me get this microphone right. Cause listen, um, hey y'all. Sorry, I was running a little bit late. I just got off of a call, and so hey Jasper, hey buddy. There we go. Lizzie, Jasper just walked by. Um, yeah, Jasper just walked by to go into the room. That's where he just went. And so, yeah, but sorry, y'all, I'm a little bit late. I had a phone call that went a little bit over. And so, yeah, I was doing that phone call, but now we're here and now we're going to get started. Y'all, listen. Y'all, China said that if y'all thought Kendrick Lamar and Drake had a beef, China said, wait till you see the US versus China beef that they plan to win. Did y'all just see how China just dismantled the whole US luxury brand in 24 hours? Like, how do you kill the whole luxury industry in 24 hours? Nancy at night said they said we got other country don't call waiting. They sure did. They said we don't need y'all, but y'all need us. They said that's real leverage. The minute that they said all of your products, even that damn MAGA hat, says made in China, our clothes don't say made in the USA though. Yeah, no, China did. Look, I'm gonna show y'all how China really just jumped off the ledge. Look. Look, let me show you, girl. They was live streaming in bags. Let me tell you, they were on here live streaming the bags. The live chat ended, but they were on here live streaming, doing sales. Look, this is where they were. They were doing sales on here, a live sale. They really were right here. It ended. You can come just yell at me. What you want? You hungry? Hold on, y'all. Let me. But yeah, this was a thing. Jasper over here whining me out. He wants some. I'm gonna get him something to eat in a minute. But yeah, they were. They was running a live stream on them bags. They was like, whoever want them bags can have them bags. They was like, we go sell those bags. All right, come on, Jasper. Let me get you something. Hold on, y'all. I'll be right back. Come on, buddy. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. I'm back. Okay, sorry about that. I just had to go get him some food because that is what he was crying over. Yeah, but yeah. China said, listen, all of it's coming from China. They said everything. We make everything. Like this, how do you go to war against your provider? That doesn't make any sense. It just, to me, it don't make no sense to even look. A lot of women believe that there's no harm. Sorry, y'all. I was trying to. This waiter caused a huge scene at see if there's a. But yeah. Look. Look. This is what I was talking about. Flexing. This is what I was talking about, y'all. Let me show you. When they said looking and seeing if they got anything. You went there. I know your FIP has been flooded by Chinese manufacturers giving you the inside scoop on the cost of goods, especially luxury goods. 50% of cameras, 30% of air conditioners and TVs, wow, 25% of washing machines, and 20% of refrigerators in the world is now being produced and assembled in China. China makes half of the world's cement and flat glass and about a third of its aluminum. Look though. Let me show you the United States products in my home. Nothing. Do you have something from China in your home? That one stung. Let me show you the United States products in my home. Nothing. Do you have something from China in your home? That one stung. Nearly everything. You went there. I know your FIP has been flooded. He did go there. The United States products in my home. Nothing. Do you have something from China in your home? That one stung. Dragging. Just dragging every, like, yeah, it's like you're not. How you go start a fight with somebody that provides most of your goods? How you go do it? Wait. Wait, what happened? Why is my camera not showing? Yeah, this is weird because I don't understand. This has to be a YouTube thing then. Hold on, let me do something. Y'all, y'all, this is turn it off and on again. I would have to like disconnect it and try to reconnect it. Here, let me try to take it out and reconnect it. Let me try to do that. And then we'll see if it works. Let me see if now if my camera want to work. No, look, y'all, it's not even showing the camera. It don't want to show it. I got to go into my settings and try to fix this. Okay, now let me see. Okay, there we go. Now we back. Okay, good. Now we are back. Okay, sorry. But yeah, no, China's pettiness is duly noted. Trust and believe. China's pettiness is noted and China's pettiness is appreciated. It really is. So it just really is. But y'all know why we came here today. Y'all know I was, listen, I'm telling y'all, I was on Twitter. I was really on Twitter looking at them go in, and a lot of people are saying, oh, they just lying. Really? Look what somebody put, y'all. Look. They are trolling because this is hilarious. Look. This perfectly sums it up. Look. I hold the cards. The cards are made in China. Like, really? The card. Look. Another MAGA evangelical PDF file, but this MAGA hat made in China. That's what's funny. The MAGA hat is made in damn China. Like, I just like, this is an ironic time to live in, y'all. It really is. This is really ironic. Like, how are you gonna, even your damn MAGA hat is made in China? So you wouldn't even, if it wasn't for the Chinese, you wouldn't even have no damn MAGA hat. You can't even produce a MAGA hat in your own country. So Americans can't even make their own MAGA hat. That's really what we doing. Hold on, y'all. I need to pull this the live stream out. Wait, why didn't this? Okay, there we go. Okay, sorry, I needed to pull out this thing. Okay. I needed to pull out the thing. Yeah, America is asking to be humbled. It just is. It's asking to be humbled. Trump ego is way out of control. China has all the power. It's the fact that they create all your products is the problem. And that's the problem for me. It's like it just seems really dumb to start a trade war with people who make most of your product, a significant portion of your products. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it, but it is what it is. There's a channel on YouTube called From Cult to Consciousness, and they have a live stream where it's titled The Handmaid's Tale is Real, an Ex-Polygamous Cult. If y'all on Patreon would like to review that, y'all let me know and we can review it, because I'm ready to review it if y'all are. We can review it later if y'all want to. The real life Handmaid's Tale, which, by the way, the new season of Handmaid's Tale is out. If anybody wants to watch it, I would encourage you to do so. Now, let me just talk about why I wanted to come back on here and read more of this. So if y'all are not familiar with the Moynihan report, I want to make y'all familiar with it. And I didn't know about the Moynihan report prior to being on YouTube. I did not. I learned about the Moynihan report from being on YouTube. When I came to YouTube, I saw a lot of black men talking about the Moynihan report is their Bible. The Moynihan report proves that black women put black men out the home for welfare. I mean, they were toting around the Moynihan report, using it as their greatest reference tool. That's what they were doing. Yeah, our antibiotics are made in China. Like, this is just stupid at this point. It's because y'all think that men are built for leadership when they not. This is showing you males are not, they're just not good leaders. They're really just not good leaders. You're going to be in a perpetual state of strife and low vibration when males are the leaders. But anyway, yeah, Earth Goddess, it does say that black men are lacking, but when I came onto YouTube, black men were touting this around. They were literally like waving it around like, look, here's the proof that black women took welfare and put black men out the home. Not really astute or savvy enough to realize that when they're talking about a book of food stamps, put them out of the home, they're also highlighting their weakness. And the reason why they shouldn't have been in a home, the reason why they didn't need to be in a home to begin with, because if you're getting displaced by a book of food stamps, I mean, you're no good to the home that you're in. Okay, now we know this. We know this. We know that if a book of food stamps can displace you and render you ineffective in your home, then you probably don't need to be in that home to begin with. Like how is it, what benefit does a man who can be put out of his home by welfare, what benefit does he serve to that home? Like, and I really want us to start talking about this. Like, I really do. I want us to talk about what use is a man who can be put out and displaced by a book of food stamps. A man who can be rendered ineffective by a book of food stamps don't got no reason to be up in your damn house. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I promise you there will be zero men of any race who can be displaced by a book of food stamp and they get to walk through my door. I'm not even having a conversation with a man. Like, listen, I ain't even having a conversation with no man who could be displaced by a book of food stamps. Like, it just, and when I tell y'all it ain't gonna happen, like, bandits are out here telling y'all the tale of them being displaced by some damn food stamps. That's what they telling you. The black men were just flatlined. Like, how do you get leveled by a book of food stamps? That's what black men trying to tell you. Let them be your leader, but they getting leveled by a book of food stamps, though. But they your leader. It's like, girl, like, it's like it smell like bullshit, and it's probably because it is. It just really is. You're not, like, no, okay? You don't, the way that you get, like, your argument can't be, you should have kept me in the home, but this food stamps was able to take me out. Like, that ain't you're not showing up on my doorstep as a grown ass man, an able-bodied grown-ass man. You're not walking up to my doorstep. Listen, I promise you I'm slamming the door in your face if you come to my doorstep saying some food stamps took you out the home. Like, then that's where your dumb ass belonged. You belonged outside the home then. It's like, get your raggedy food stamp displaced ass out of here. Like, ain't no way. Like, see, y'all be letting bandits bring weakness to your door. It's like, you don't get to bring no damn weakness over here. What do you think this is? You about to tell me you leveled? So I'm gonna believe you a provider and a protector, but you getting leveled out by a book of food stamps? Like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It is. What are you telling me? What are you telling me? You the weakest nothing ass bitch on the planet? Explain to me how a book of food stamp is able to completely demand you. I need to know. I need to know. I really do. I need to know how you got flatlined by welfare. Like, y'all need to y'all need to use that and drag them. Absolutely not. Hell no, you ain't sitting here saying you a threat. I cannot. Okay, that camera's off. Hold on for a second. Cause ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. You sitting here. There is absolutely no way you're letting black men are a threat come out of the same mouth as welfare put me out of the home. No. No, absolutely not. Hold on. Absolutely not. Y'all, when I tell y'all I have mascara running down my face, cause for real, no, ain't no damn way, ain't no way. Because let me tell y'all why I'm laughing. I'm laughing because it sounds bandit sounds ridiculous as hell. What are you telling? What are you saying to me when you're telling me that men think you're a threat, but welfare also take you out the home? Like, no. I promise you, the men who got took out of their home by a book of food stamps is absolutely no threat to anyone. I promise you, you are no threat to anyone. I mean, dude, you were leveled by a book of food stamps. There is no possible way a man who can pick up a gun is about to be threatened by another man who, although he's bigger and stronger, he still got his dumb ass leveled out by a book of food stamps. Absolutely not. Like, we don't need, what do you mean? They don't need to get the CIA to defeat you. Welfare will do it. What the hell do you mean you a threat? If you that much of a threat, all we got to do is call DSHS. What you mean? It's like, don't nobody need to call the CIA and do no CIA operation. All they need to do is a welfare operation. Call DSHS and they'll get these dumbass bandits out. Have China create a book of food stamps and that'll level black men. Hell, they sitting around complaining 40, 50 years later, they still down and can't get up. So black men having a whole man down situation over a book of food stamps. How are you screaming man down and I can't get back up over food stamps? Oh, it's child support now. You're right. You're right. So you're right, now they being jumped. So now they got to read and scream man down because they getting jumped. The welfare and child support is jumping the strong warrior black men. Like, are you kidding me? Like, these dudes sound stupid as hell. They ain't even see how dumb they right. Like how you getting your ass straight whooped by an EBT card. These bandits, these food stamp bandits don't even know what they be telling you. They don't even know what they saying to you. A damn food stamp bandit. Like, I ain't got time. I do stand a red alert. Did you just say they in a red alert? They in a red alert situation. Listen, ain't no way. And black men, listen. Black men can't backtrack now because y'all been complaining about welfare for a good smooth 50 years. So listen, you can't backtrack now. Ain't no way you go backtrack, and there's videos of you in the 1960s talking about how you got leveled by a book of food stamps. Ain't no way you go sit up here and sell to nobody that you a threat. If you don't get your ass out of here, just because you don't understand what you're saying don't mean we don't. We know what you're saying. You just too dumb. You saying you the weakest man, the weakest bitches on the planet, bar none. No votes required. No votes required. We already know who the weakest link is because the weakest link will identify themselves. They over there complaining that they got leveled out by a book of food stamps. That's how you can identify them. You can identify them by the complaints that a book of food stamps took them out the home. That's how you can identify they all raggedy asses. Like sitting there being raggedy. And like y'all sitting up there still complaining. Still complaining. And it's been 60 years now. Like it's been over 60 years now if you do the math. Again, black men being displaced by welfare. They've been taken out the home by welfare. And in 60 years, they still ain't got their dumb asses back in the home. So if a book of food stamps can displace black men for over 60 years, what can one gun do? What can one gun do if a book of food stamps can displace black men for 60 plus years? I promise you, this ain't a group of male that you would ever see as a threat. You would never see them as a threat. 60 years later, they still complaining about welfare. And that's what we do know. And if they try to lie, we go bring up the videos of them complaining that welfare defeated them 60 years ago and they still ain't got back up. They waved that white flag and they ain't never. Like, black men still laying on the mat after welfare done got up and left and battled somebody else, and black men still laying their dumbasses on that mat defeated by welfare. Just laying there. Just laying there, ain't getting no job, ain't doing nothing. And that's why we go talk about they raggedy pathology, because they always doing something raggedy and weak, thinking they promoting strength, and you thought wrong. You weren't. You were promoting how weak you were, because you're the only male groups who are on here saying they were defeated by welfare. Like, a welfare to stabilize your family, and you talking, listen, you don't serve a purpose in the home, sir. Your presence doesn't matter if welfare can render you useless. What are you talking about? A man needs to be in a home. Don't nobody need no damn daddy that could be removed by some food stamps. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you going to learn from a daddy that's getting put out the house by food stamps? Like, what are you going to learn? You're not teaching nobody nothing. You can't even learn. How you teaching your kids? You don't even know how to stay in a house. You don't even know how to stay in a house, but you go teach a man how to be a man. Your manhood ends where welfare kicking you out the house begins. Like, dumb. They are dumb, y'all. I'm telling y'all, they dumb. And that's why I'm going to drag them every single chance I get. That's why I'm going to drag them every single chance I get. But anyway, let's go over this report. Because that's what I'm telling y'all while I'm going over it now, is because they was on the internet popping off, running off at the mouth like they usually do, like some bitches, which is what usually hood rat bitches do. Like, I really wish these bandits would just admit that they hood rats. Because most of them are. And I think bandits think that they can't be called hood rats, but they are. We calling them hood rat bandits in 2025, okay? I want y'all to make sure y'all call these bandits the hood rats that they are. I want y'all to label them the hood rats that they are. Oh, I'm going to call them a ghetto ass hood rat ass bandit. That's what they are. Bandits are hood rats, they hoes, and they acting like they ain't. They know bandits are the most promiscuous hood rats on the face of the planet, and they've been that way for a very long time. But like, I'm telling y'all, black men will bust it wide open for anyone and anything. It does not need to be human. I promise you, it don't. And if y'all think black men, when they engage in a hood rat ways, that they won't bust it wide open for anyone and anything, then you must not know black men. But I'm telling you, they will. They are hood rats. They are the biggest hood rats on the planet. And I think this Moynihan report is about to detail just how hood ratish they are. They are. Rats don't abandon their babies. That's why we call them hood rat. They the ghetto rat. A ghetto rat will abandon their kid because they don't know better. So if you a ghetto rat, you a hood rat. And most black men will. They'll drop their draws for anybody. Y'all don't act like they won't. Y'all gonna act like they won't? Please. Black men literally, like, black men will drop their draws faster than a teenage girl. I promise you, they will. They will do it. Black men will get out their clothes for anybody. Like, I'm telling y'all, they will. Yep, especially white men. And you know, all of y'all know they will, because the biggest problem that everybody has with black men is that they hood rats. That they always out there busting it open for somebody. Black men are always out there dropping their pants for just whoever. Dick ran through. Dick got more miles on it than the subway station, and they sitting there talking about they got options. It's like, are y'all kidding me? Too many, obviously. Too many. Anyway, look. The Tangle of Pathology. Because this is talking about black men. I want y'all to understand that when it says the Negro American, it's largely talking about the men. They already established in here that they are not referring to black women because they said black women are no threat. Women are no threat to anyone. So I want y'all to understand that they are actually specifically, when they say the Negro American, they are talking about black men, and they already clarified that in this report. I just want y'all to know that so that we don't got to skip and go read through things that we don't really need to read through to get to this. But they've already established that this is about black men. They already said the root cause of the problem in the black community is black men's antisocial behavior. I think they need to say black men's antisocial hood rat behavior, because their hood rat problem behavior is the problem too. And if black men weren't so hoish, we wouldn't be dealing with a whole lot of problems that we dealing with. They so hoish, they can't keep their hands off of kids. My grandma said she was done with black men and all men at 41. She's been single all my life and she's 91 and still can run. I think being single kept her healthy. It guaranteed it helped catch. I really think men are sirens. I want y'all to understand that. I really think men are the sirens that the Lord talks about. And I think men are the sign, because if you notice, women, when they're in proximity to men, men lead women to destruction. Women don't lead men to destruction. Women lead men to a healthier life. Men lead women to their destruction. So I really think men are the sirens. I do. I think the sirens were male, and I think the sirens were males who were leading women to their destruction. And I think that they switched it just like they do with everything, because we already know Adam's old raggedy whining ass is the one who bit that apple, whining like Tyrese. So really, men are the real sirens out here, and we gonna get that 100% straight. They not gonna try to put their siren pathology on nobody else. Yep, sirens and incubuses. Because when they describe a siren and what a siren does the exact same thing that men do to women. So we're not gonna sit here and play. Let's read over this. That the Negro American has survived at all is extraordinary. This is called the Tangle of Pathology. I think this is chapter 5. Yeah, this is our chapter 4. The Tangle of Pathology. And listen, even though I'm reading off of this, I would encourage y'all to judge this based off your own research and what you already know about the history of the black community, as well as what you know about what's currently going on with black men. Because there is no report, no study that is flawless. So obviously there are issues with the Moynihan report. It has been criticized multiple times. However, just because it's been criticized does not mean that what it's saying about black men in this specific part was criticized. So you would have to look up which part of the Moynihan report was being scrutinized, which part that people think wasn't as accurate. I guarantee you the notion that the root cause of the problem being black men's antisocial personality, I don't think anybody has ever criticized that point. The fact that black men have been consistently underperforming in life, I don't think anybody would ever criticize that fact, because everybody in this country is complaining about the fact that black men have been underperforming in life consistently. So there are certain things that we just know ain't gonna be criticized or false about this report, but you should still do your own research, and you should still do your own research just so that you can make sure that nobody is misleading you. The reason I can tell you to go do your research, because your research is gonna bring you back to the same conclusion. That's why I can tell you confidently to go do your research, and I still know that I'm going to be right, because at the end of the day, these bandits ain't changed, and they ain't gonna change, and they ain't trying to change, And I think we already understand black men's pathology and how that relates to their behavior. So we're not going to play dumb. We've been suffering the consequences of their pathology for the entire time. So we need not act like we haven't. It says that the Negro American has survived at all is extraordinary. A lesser people might simply have died out, as indeed others have. They're talking about the natives. That the Negro community has not only survived, but in this political generation has entered national affairs as a moderate, humane, and constructive national force is the highest testament to the healing powers of the democratic idea and the creative vitality of the Negro people. Listen, I'll say black women are the ones that he's talking about here, because black men ain't got it. And quite frankly, if it wasn't for black women, black men wouldn't even be in existence. So we know black men ain't got no type of healing powers from nothing. This is about black women. Basically, he could have just wrote right here, if it wasn't for black women, there will be no black community. Great, we know that. But it may not be supposed that the Negro American community has not paid a fearful price for the incredible mistreatment to what it has been subjected over the past 3 centuries. In essence, basically, he's saying that America has not gotten its karma for its evil atrocities against black people for the past 300 years. In essence, the Negro community has been forced into a matriarchal structure, which, because it is so out of line with the rest of American society, seriously retards the progress of the group as a whole. Okay? He's saying that the black community was forced into a matriarchal situation, and because you live in a patriarchal system, the black community cannot progress because black men refuse to step up to the mantle of manhood, and black men refuse to acknowledge that they are indeed in a patriarchy, and black men refuse to act like men in a patriarchy, which is why the community can't progress. Keep in mind, this was written in the 1960s. Because it is so out of line with the rest of American society, seriously retards the progress of the group as a whole and imposes a crushing burden on the Negro male and, in consequence, on a great many Negro women as well. There is presumably no special reason why a society in which males are dominant in family relationships. Look, they're telling you right here, there's no reason. We don't have any evidence. They're telling you right now, we don't have any evidence to say that a society is better off being patriarchal than matriarchal. That's what they're saying. There is presumably no special reason why a society in which males are dominant in family structure is to be preferred to a matriarchal arrangement. However, it is clearly a disadvantage for a minority group to be operating on one principle, while the great majority of the population and the one with the most advantages to begin with is operating on another. So, what they're saying is that when you live in a patriarchy and the males don't step up to be men in the patriarchy and perform manhood the way patriarchy is supposed to be performed, you have a problem. Just Saying said matriarchy means women control, and black women don't control. They are servants and slaves. Their energy is abscond. Black women are not making the decisions. Male worship is. I think what he means is that black women are the only ones performing in the community. He means black women are the only ones doing anything, because the burden may be placed on black men, but have they ever fulfilled it? No. They've left black women to fulfill the burdens. What they're saying is that black men are acting feminine in a patriarchal system. They're saying that the problem is that you live in a patriarchal construct and black men are okay leaving black women to do everything, which goes against the society that they live in. That's what he's saying. Black men's actions and the fact that they have left women to run the community goes against the societal structure with which they live. A subculture, hold on for a second. It said that is the present situation of the Negro. Ours is a society which presumes male leadership in private and public affairs. The arrangement of society facilitates such leadership and reward it. A subculture such as that of the Negro American, in which that is not the pattern, is placed at a distinct advantage. And they are. They're telling you a society rewards male leadership. So black men have been telling you that black women are rewarded by the system to basically overthrow black men's male authority. And this report is telling you that's not true. This report is telling you ours is a society which presumes male leadership in a private and public affairs. The arrangements of society facilitate such leadership and reward it. So there is no benefit, which what black men are saying is that, oh, black women just want to run the community. They're saying there's no benefit to black women wanting to do that. There will be no benefit to black women doing that because you live in a patriarchal structure. So it wouldn't even matter if black women wanted that or not. It's going against society's structure. Here, an earlier word of caution should be repeated. There is much evidence that a considerable number of Negro families have managed to break out of the tangle of pathology and to establish themselves as stable, effective units living according to patterns of American society in general. E. Franklin Frazier has suggested that the middle-class Negro American family is, if anything, more patriarchal and protective of its children than the general run of such families. So they said the black people who were meeting society's patriarchal, which you already know it is true, they were performing patriarchy to a greater extent than the rest of society, meaning black men were knocking black women's heads between the washer and dryer. Because we know violence and abuse of women is a cornerstone of patriarchy. So if black men were performing it to a greater extent than overall society, that makes me believe that they're saying black men were knocking black women's heads between the washer and dryer and pimping them. Given equal opportunities, the children of these families will perform as well or better than their white peers. They need no help from anyone and ask none. See, they're saying when black people get into the middle class, they don't ask for anything and they perform better. They perform better than white peers. This is the problem that white men are having right now. This right here was proven by black women. Right here, black women prove this. Given equal opportunities, you weren't even given equal opportunities, you were given partially equal opportunities. The children of these families will perform as well or better than their white peers. And black women have done just that. Black women have done exactly that. You've performed better. You've taken the opportunities and you performed better than your white peers. While this phenomena is not easily measured, one index is that middle-class Negroes have even fewer than middle-class whites, indicating a desire to conserve the advances they have made and to ensure that their children do as well or better. Negro women who marry early to educated laborers have more children than white women in the same situation. Negro women who marry at the common age for the middle class to educated men doing technical or professional work have only 4/5 as much children as their white counterparts. it might be estimated that as much as half of the Negro community falls into the middle class. So they told y'all that everybody was poor and struggling. Now he already told you that you was about to go into trade. He's saying at least half of the black community was middle class. It might be estimated that as much as half of the Negro community falls into the middle class. However, the remaining half is in desperate and deteriorating circumstances. Moreover, because of housing segregation, it is immensely difficult for the stable half to escape from the cultural influences of the unstable one. The children of the middle class Negroes, often as not, must grow up in or next to the slums and experience almost unknown to white middle class children. They are therefore constantly exposed to the pathology of the disturbed group and constantly in danger of being drawn into it. It is for this reason that the propositions put forth in this study may be thought of as having a more or less general application. Now, one thing I want to say is that he's absolutely correct when he says that it's difficult for people who grew up in the middle class, or i.e. the suburbs, to not be affected by the antics of black people in the hood. And that is 100% true, because like I told y'all, I did not grow up in the black community, not by a long shot. I spent most of my time in Washington. Even though I was born in California, we spent a significant amount of time in Washington in a suburb. Yes, we were homeless, but no, we were not in the hood. We were in the suburbs. And one thing I will say is that when I start going around black people, I'm telling y'all, the black community socialization, the black culture affected me before I even realized it affected me. I'll tell y'all that. It's going to affect you before you even realize it affects you. Plus, during this time, I'm pretty sure during this time, suburban black kids still had to go to school with hood black kids. I'm sure they did. He's just describing my family and how my younger brother got sucked into degeneracy. Yep. It's very, very easy because of how the black culture is constructed. It really is easy, very easy for you to get easily sucked into it. It is for this reason that the propositions put forth in this study may be thought of as having a more or less general application. In a word, most Negro youths are in danger of being caught up in the tangle of pathology that affects their world, and probably a majority are so entrapped. Many of those who escape do so from one generation only. As things now are, their children may have to run the gauntlet. Meaning, a lot of kids who grew up in the suburbs, their children may be in the hood. That's what they saying. Even the kids when the children who grew up in the suburb have children, if they choose to go get a low tier black man, they're probably going to end up in the hood too, because that's all most black men can afford to move black women and children to, is to the hood. And it seems like that's been forever, because this Moynihan report is showing that too. But like I said, don't just go by this, do your research, because look, they have sources up here. So you can always check the sources here, and you can always do your own research. In a word, most Negro youths are in danger of being caught up in the tangle of pathology that affects their world, and probably a majority are so entrapped. Many of those who escape do so for one generation. As things now are, their children may have to run the gauntlet all over again. That is not the least vicious aspect of the world that white America has made for the Negro. Obviously, not every instance of social pathology afflicting the Negro community can be traced to the weakness of family structure. If, for example, organized crime in the Negro community were not largely controlled by whites, I want to show you something. Look. They said black men don't run nothing. Look, it says if, for example, organized crime in the Negro community were not largely controlled by whites. You don't even, so as black men, you calling yourself a threat, but you don't even control your organized crime. You don't even control the organized crime in your community. So let's get it to read it again. If, for example, organized crime in the Negro community were not largely controlled by whites, there will be more capital accumulation among Negroes and therefore probably more Negro business enterprises. They saying if black men were taking control of their organized criminal behaviors, they could maybe turn that crime legit by starting businesses. But because white men control their organized crime, they ain't able to capitalize off of it. This is a problem. If it were not for the hostility and fear many whites exhibit towards Negro, they in turn would be less afflicted by hostility and fear and so on. There is not one Negro community. There is no one Negro community. There is no one Negro problem. There is no one solution. Nonetheless, at the center of the tangle of pathology is the weakness of the family structure. Once or twice removed, it will be found to be the principal source of most of the aberrant, inadequate, or antisocial behavior that did not establish but now serves to perpetuate the cycle of poverty and deprivation. So they're saying while black men's antisocial behavior did not establish the broken family structure, it does perpetuate the cycle of poverty and deprivation. It was by destroying the Negro family under slavery that white America broke the will of the Negro people. Although that will has reasserted itself in our time, it is a resurgence doomed to frustration unless the viability of the Negro family is restored. In a nutshell, they saying until black men do right by the family structure, everything is going to crumble, because at the end of the day, yeah, we can say that slavery destroyed the family structure. Black men destroyed it once they got off the plantation. Matriarchy. A fundamental fact of Negro American family life is the often reversed roles of the husband and wife. Okay, I want y'all to understand this was written in 1965. This is when black men sat up here and told y'all that they were providers, they were protectors. You didn't want a provider, you wanted what Miss Ann had, so you traded him in for a book of food stamps. Meanwhile, right here it says the fundamental fact of Negro American family life is often reverse roles of husband and wives. Meaning black women were playing the role of the husband and black men were in the role of the wife. It does not say that black men were providing here. So I don't understand, when were black men providing? This research was conducted over the early 1900s I think they went back as far as 1920 or something like that, all the way up to the 1960s and 80s or something. I don't know. Black men did read the report, but they thought it was in their favor. They have to be slow to think that, Bettina. They got to be slow. But this is saying the roles were reversed. We know this is true because the roles are still reversed. So we know that black men been just living the soft life for the most part. It sounds like since we got off the plantation, black women been working and black men decided they wanted to live the soft life. That's what they did. Robert O. Blood Jr. and Donald M. Wolfe, in a study of Detroit families, note that Negro husbands have unusually low power And while this is characteristic of all low-income families, the pattern pervades the Negro social structure. The reason Black men didn't have any power is because they had no provision. You don't have power unless you can provide. Yeah, this is sickening, but it needs to be put out because Black men are constantly lying on Black women. Even now with them sitting up, because that's why we were reading over the Moynihan report. So y'all know we were reading over the Moynihan report because Black men came out and said, oh, well, we're not going to school because Black women said we need to have some money now. But when we read over this Moynihan report, and there's other reports that confirm it too, Black men have consistently been failures at school. The cumulative result of discrimination in jobs, the segregated housing, and the poor schooling of Negro men, and 44% of the Negro families studied, the wife was dominant as against 20% of white wives. Whereas the majority of white families are egalitarian or something, equalitarian. The largest percentage of Negro families are dominated by the wife, meaning you're doing everything. So you were doing everything as Black women back then, and you doing everything as Black women now. That's what they said. You were doing it by yourself then, and you doing it primarily by yourself now. But they're telling you that they were providers. The matriarchal pattern of so many Negro families reinforces itself over the generations. This process begins with education. Although the gap appears to be closing at the moment, for a long while, Negro females were better educated than Negro males, and this remains true today for the Negro population as a whole. And in 2025, it still rings true today. So let's read it again. This process begins with education. Although the gap appears to be closing at the moment, for a while, Negro females were better educated than Negro males, and this remains true today for Negro population as a whole. So this was in the 1960s. You were doing better than Black men in school in the 1960s. They had a very high dropout rate in the 1960s, even in high school. So clearly this has been a consistent pattern of Black men. It doesn't have anything to do with Black women requesting a certain amount of money from Black men. No, because what Black women are not doing is looking at the Black men, the few of them that they're in college with, and telling them to leave college and go sell drugs. Just saying Torre needs to shut up because he's talking about education and not being educated funnels money wealth out of the Black community, and he married to a whole white woman. So he need to stop. In 2025, this is still true. This is why they're so jealous of us. Yep, Princess Yana, because you took the opportunity and they didn't. The difference in educational attainment between non-white men and women in the labor force is even greater. Men lag 1.1 years behind women. The disparity in education attainment of male and female youth at age 16 and 21 who were out of school in February 1963 is striking. Do you see how long this has been going on? Men are complaining and up in arms now, but it really is given that females were doing, and I'm using females because I'm lumping girls and women. So it sounds like from the minute females were allowed to go to school with males, they were doing better than them. Among the non-white males, 66.3% were not high school graduates, compared with 55% of the females. A similar difference existed at the college level, with 4.5% of the males having completed 1 to 3 years of college, compared with 7.3% of females. So I want y'all to notice how they're telling you this has been the same for a while. This has been the way that it was since females were allowed to go get into college. The poorer performance of the male in school exists from the very beginning. So they telling you that right now. They confirming it here. Since females were allowed in school, the males have been having poor performance. They telling you right here. The poorer performance of the male in school exists from the very beginning, and the magnitude of the difference was documented by the 1960 Census and Statistics on the number of children who have fallen one or more grades below the typical grade for children of the same age. The boys have more frequently fallen behind at every age level. Amber Santana said, I am a Dominican man and I love you, bro. Your men are trash. They are such cowards. You're the only black women talking unfiltered. I respect the realness. Thank you. So do y'all see, though, that they're saying this has been an issue from the beginning? I listened to all your videos at the man at that. Thank you so much. I actually really appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Ivy Gotta say, yeah, this is nothing new. It's always been a long-standing trope. I remember when I was in honor classes, there were never any black boys, only black girls. I think when I was in college and I won a scholarship, it was one of the scholarships I won when I was at Washington State. And I remember there was only one other black person in there that got a scholarship. And I think it was a black male. It was just one of them. But even in my classes, when I went to Washington State, not a lot of black men in college. There was a few of them, but not a lot. By and large, there was far more black women when I was in college than black males. And that's when I was at university and community college. Both in community college and university, there was way more black women than black males there. White boys also lag behind white girls, but at a differential of 1 to 6 percentage points. So they saying white boys ain't lagging as behind white girls as black boys are behind black girls. In 1960, 39% of all white persons 25 years of age and over who had completed 4 or more years of college were women. 53% of non-whites who had attained this level were women. However, the gap is closing. By October 1963, there were slightly more Negro men in college than women. We know that's not the case now. Among whites, there were almost twice as many men as women enrolled. And obviously, we would already know that because when school began, school was for males only. So it was a male-only institution for a long time. So obviously, there would be more males than females. But it says there is much evidence that the Negro females are better students than their male counterparts. Daniel Thompson. Oh, yeah, we already read over this with the honor students as girls. So we're going to continue reading. Dr. Thompson reports that 70% of all applications for the National Achievement Scholarship Program financed by the Ford Foundation for outstanding Negro high school graduates are girls, despite special efforts by high school principals to cement the name of boys. So look, notice how they'll try to tell you that there are no programs for boys and nobody does anything to try to get boys there, which is what they're saying now. They're saying the same thing now. But notice how back in the 1960s, when this report was made, they said most of the Negro high school graduates were girls, despite the fact that they made special efforts. They made special efforts to get boys on there, and they couldn't because the boys were just too underperforming. Like, y'all have to understand that this is an ongoing issue. Do not allow black men to blame you for their failures. This is just another failure that they're choosing to blame on you. You're not keeping them out of school. They've been underperforming. The finalists for this new program for outstanding Negro students was recently announced. Based on an inspection of the names, only about 43% of all of the 639 finalists were males. However, in the regular National Merit Scholarship Program, males received 67% of the 1964 scholarship awards. Inevitably, these disparities have carried over to the era of employment and income. In 1 in 4 Negro families where the husband is present, is an earner, and someone else within the family works, the husband is not the principal earner. Look at this. Look at this. I'm going to read this again because these are black men telling you that they were providers. And they've been running around on this slander lying campaign telling the world that you are the one who leveled them with a book of food stamps. You took them, displaced them from their home because of a book of food stamps. They've been running around lying on your name the entire time. Yet right here, and the ironic thing is they've been using this report to do it, but right here it says in 1 in 4 Negro families where the husband is present, is an earner, and someone else in the family works, the husband is not the principal earner. The comparable figure for whites is 18%. So in the majority of situations, it seems like black men wasn't even the principal earner, let alone the sole provider. He wasn't even the principal earner, let alone the sole provider. More important, it is clear that the Negro females have established a strong position for themselves in white collar and professional employment, precisely the areas of the economy which are growing most rapidly and to which the highest prestige is accorded. So look, as a black woman, you are always on your game. You are always on your game as a black woman. Stop letting black men write your story for you. You are always standing on your square. More important, it is clear that the Negro females have established a strong position for themselves in white collar and professional employment, precisely the areas of the economy which are growing most rapidly and to which the highest prestige is accrued. The President's Committee on Equal Employment Opportunity, the law that Donald Trump just got rid of, making a preliminary report on employment in 1964 of over 16,000 companies with nearly 5 million employees, revealed this pattern with dramatic emphasis. Y'all have to literally, you got to be listening to this. They saw this pattern of black women educating themselves and going for upper employment and strategy. They said when they did this study with nearly 5 million employees, this pattern was revealed with dramatic emphasis. In the workforce, Negro males outnumber Negro females by a ratio of 4-1. Didn't they tell you that black women was getting all the jobs? But ain't that a lie? Ain't it a lie? Won't they do it? Won't they lie? It says in the workforce, Negro males outnumber Negro females by a ratio of 4-1. And of course they would, because prior to 1964 Civil Rights Bill, black women were restricted to a specific type of work. Black women prior to 1964 was restricted to being housekeepers. The Equal Employment Opportunity Law made it possible for black women to get in corporate jobs. That's why they said the President's Committee on Equal Opportunity Employment. This is post-civil rights. This is where black women are saying DEI didn't benefit you. This is where DEI benefited you. This is the benefit DEI gave to you. It gave you access to 16,000 corporate companies to work in that you would not have been able to work in without it. This is what DEI did for black women. So you can stop saying DEI didn't benefit you. DEI did benefit you. It gave you access to employment in 16,000 companies. You were relegated to housekeeping work. That's what DEI did to you. But instead, you would prefer to listen to black men tell you DEI didn't benefit you, when as a black woman, it did benefit you. Yet Negro males represent only 1.2% of all males in white-collar occupations, while Negro females represent 3 to 1. So even though there were more black men employed, they were in lesser positions because they refused to better themselves. Same thing happening now. Same thing happening now. Black women are still more represented in white collar work than black men are because they refuse to educate themselves. Negro males represent 1.1% of all male professionals, whereas Negro females roughly represent 6%. Listen, you been running like this isn't even a competition because black men don't compare here. You can only compete where you compare. And if black women are doing 6% and black men are 1.1, this is where you can't even compare. You're not competing with black men because they're not even on your level. They can't compete with you. They're not on your level. They're trying to compete verbally. They're trying to shame and ridicule you. But when it comes to an actual competition, they can't even compare with you, let alone compete. They can't even compare. This says Negro males represent 1.1% of all male professionals, whereas Negro females represent roughly 6% of all female professionals. You been shitting on them. You been doing it. Again, in technician occupations, Negro males represent 2.1% of all male technicians, while Negro females represent 10%. Girl, this is why they mad. Why they mad though? Because of this. You asking why they mad? Because of this, because they can't touch you. Because they can't touch you. they couldn't even like, you're trying to tell them to get on your level and they can't. They can't. They said again, in the technician occupations, Negro males represent 2.1% of all male technicians, while Negro females represent 10%. Consistently just stomping them out. It would appear, therefore, that there are proportionately 4 times as many Negro females in significant white-collar jobs than Negro males. You been doing them in. And this is why that bandit was sitting up in that video. Let me run that video where he said, we want to work, and black women say we want to work. We want to work too. We gonna play that video where they whining and raggedy and crying all over the damn place, talking about black women are a problem because they working, where somebody got to work. Somebody got to work because black men ain't working. Clearly, you can look in here and see black men ain't working. Hold on, y'all. I'm just trying to find this video. I think I had it too. Let me see something. I just want to see if this is it. No, but I do got to show y'all something. I do got to show y'all what this is. I'm just sorry. I'm trying to find this video. Because these bandits were just complaining, and I'm trying to find the one where they complaining. Y'all know where they complaining? Saying the white infrastructure used the black women against the black man. That's what I'm looking for. And I know I just saw this on Instagram and sent it over to myself. So I'm trying to find it. I don't think that's it. What was going on with child support? Oh, okay. After we get done with this part, I'll show y'all what I was talking about. Or actually, these are just going to be for tomorrow. We're going to have an interesting show tomorrow. Y'all, I don't think I see it. I saw it some days ago. But this, you know, those bandits been complaining about black women for the longest time. Yeah, I don't see it in here. Yeah, no, I don't see it in here. It's okay. Y'all know which one I'm talking about, where they sitting up there talking about white America has used the black woman against the black man. And largely they're complaining just because black women want to work because bandits can't afford nothing except mediocrity. But it says, this is saying a lot though. It says, although it is evident that office and clerical job accounts for approximately 50% of all Negro female white collar workers, it is significant that 6 out of every 100 Negro females are in professional jobs. This is substantially similar to the rate of all females in such jobs. Approximately 7 out of every 100 Negro females are in technician jobs. This exceeds the population of all females in technician jobs, approximately 5 out of every 100. Negro females in skilled jobs are almost the same as that of all females in such jobs. 9 out of every 100 Negro males are in skilled occupations, while 21 out of all 100 of all males are in such jobs. So they're saying black men, mostly skilled occupations or trades. Skilled occupations are trade jobs. The ones that black men are still saying that they want to get, mind you, this is a problem. So even back in the 1960s, all black men wanted were trade jobs. So they weren't trying to go to college back here either. They wanted a trade, skilled jobs of the trade. Meanwhile, black women are going to work that is actually requires an education. This pattern is to be seen in the federal government, where special efforts have been made recently to ensure equal employment opportunity for Negroes. These efforts have been notably successful in departments such as labor, where some 19% of employees are now Negro. So this right here is explaining what DEI did for black people. Because when they are mentioning this equal employment opportunity, the law that Donald Trump just got rid of that made it where these companies need to hire you because you're qualified and stop not hiring you because you're black. Yeah, that's the equal employment opportunity law that Donald Trump just got rid of. A not disproportionate percentage given the composition of the workforce in the areas where the main department offices are located. However, it may well be that these efforts have redounded mostly to the benefit of Negro women, and many may have accentuated the comparative disadvantage of the Negro men. So basically, they're pointing out in here is that black women are the ones who benefited from this mostly because black women qualified. But they're qualifying for this disadvantages black men. It highlights the disadvantage of black men. 70% of Negro employments of the Department of Labor are women, as contrasted with only 42% of the white employees. 70% of the Negro employees of the Department of Labor are women. Black men have consistently underperformed. Among non-professional Labor Department employees where the most employment opportunities exist for all groups, Negro women outnumber Negro men 4-1 and average almost 1 grade higher in classification. The testimony to the effects of these patterns in Negro family structure is widespread and hardly to be doubted. Whitney Young. Historically, in the matriarchal Negro society, mothers made sure that if one of their children had a chance for higher education, the daughter was the one to pursue it. Yeah, because you need to get the best you need to get the best return on your investment. You're going to bet on the girl. The effects on family functioning and role performance of this historical experience, economic deprivation, is what you might predict. They're talking about raising black girls to be independent, self-sufficient black women and coddling black boys. This is where the problem with black women's coddling comes in. Because if you're pushing the girls to be in school and do for self and be better, you're not doing it with the males. So now the males are needy, the males are not self-sufficient, the males are behind, and the girls are self-sufficient and doing way better. The effect on the family functioning and role performance of this historical experience, economic deprivation, is what you might predict. Both as a husband and a father, the Negro male is made to feel inadequate, not because he is unlovable or unaffectionate, lacks intelligence, or even a gray flannel suit. But in a society that measures a man by the size of his paycheck, he doesn't stand very tall in a comparison with his white counterparts, nor does he want to. To this situation, he may react with withdrawal, bitterness towards society, aggression, both within the family and racial group, self-hatred, or crime. And black men did all of the above. So basically what they're saying is we laid out a trap for black men and they fell into it face first. Yep, black men saw systemic oppression and relaxed. See, you know how black men like to run around and say, oh, the white man had an agenda and black women fell for the agenda. No, it was really black men, because they're saying right here, but in a society that measures a man by the size of his paycheck, he doesn't stand very tall in comparison with his white counterparts. To this situation, he may react with withdrawal, i.e. abandonment, bitterness, a nasty attitude. He said bitterness towards society, or also feeling like society owes you something. Aggression both within the family and racial group. The DV rates are high. We experiencing black femicide. Self-hatred. He promotes the white woman and demeans black women, or crime, which black men are running amok doing. So black men have literally done all of the above. They said this is black man's circumstance and this is how he's going to react as a result of it. And black men did 100%. He abandons his children. He bitter towards society and black women. He feel like he owes something. He's extremely overly aggressive, beats on his wife and children, toe tagging black women in the community, self-hating, propping up whiteness on a pedestal, gravitating towards whatever is going to erase his blackness, and committing crimes in his community, which he does more than anybody else. Black men did everything he was set up to do. It says, or he may escape through a number of avenues that help him to lose himself in fantasy, or to compensate for his low status through a variety of exploits, i.e. sexual promiscuity. I'm going to go get all these women. I'm going to go buy all these things that depreciate in value. I'm going to run over here and say I'm going to build a different community with a white woman when really all I'm doing is building a population of confused biracials. They pulled black men's card a long time ago. They getting a passport, they wallowing in sex addiction, they own drugs, they own alcohol, they own everything. Because it said, or he may escape through a number of avenues like sex that help him to lose himself in a fantasy, like having multiple women. I'm gonna run over here, I'm the most desired man, these women want to have sex with me, so I must be the best thing on earth. Black men are lost in a fantasy. They lost in it. Thomas Pettigrew. The Negro wife in this situation can easily become disgusted with her financially dependent husband, and her rejection of him further alienates the male from the family life. Only black women didn't reject these males. They coddled them just like they coddled the children. Black women didn't push him away and didn't get disgusted by him. She didn't go to another group of men. She told this failed male he the king. She started trying to speak life into him. She made him her preference. That's what black women did. Black women didn't get repulsed. They didn't alienate the male from the family. They coddled him. They let his broke ass be the man of the house. Embittered by their experience with men, many Negro mothers often act to perpetuate the mother-centered pattern by taking a great interest in their daughters than their sons. But instead, black women worship their sons, poured into their sons, and neglected their daughters. That's what black women did. This is where black women went against the grind. Black women don't pour into their daughters, they neglect them. Black women don't mold their sons into men and avid members of society. They mold them into their sonsmen, their son husbands. Yup, Sabrina Lee, the opposite happened. Black women double down on worship. They coddle their male sons and they neglect their daughters. That's what they did. In a matriarchal structure, the women are transmitting the culture. Dorothy Height. If the Negro woman had the major underlying concern, it is the status of the Negro man and his position in the community and his need for feeling himself an important person, free to be able to make his contribution in a whole society in order that he may strengthen his home. But he's not able to do that, though. So you didn't demand him, white men demand him, but he's lying and saying you did. Duncan M. McIntyre, the Negro illegitimacy rate always has been high. about 8 times the rate in 1940 and some way higher today, even though the white illegitimacy rate is also climbing. Do you want to know what the illegitimacy rate is? It's the out of wedlock rate. What did they cite 1940? So they told you that the rate of black men creating children out of wedlock was already high. It was already high. In 1940, it was increasing. You weren't getting welfare over here in 1940, so why weren't black men marrying the women that they were impregnating? Why? Y'all want to know why black men ain't getting married now? Because they never cared about marriage. That's why. They never cared about it. Yep, this says 1940. Let's read it again. The Negro illegitimacy rate has always been high, about 8 times the white rate in 1940 and somewhat higher today, even though the white illegitimacy rate is also climbing. So it was high in 1940, and in 1960 it was climbing. Yet they blamed you and said you taking welfare is why they got all these kids out of wedlock, and you didn't even have welfare in 1940. You didn't even have it. So how could you use something against them that you didn't even have? How can something that you didn't even have account for the breakdown of the black family? How? The Negro statistics are symptomatic of some old socioeconomic problems, not the least of which are underemployment among Negro men and compensating high labor force propensity among Negro women. The Negro statistics are symptomatic of some old socioeconomic problems, not the least of which are underemployment among Negro men and compensating higher labor force propensity among Negro women. Both operate to enlarge the mother's role, undercutting the status of the male and making many Negro families essentially matriarchal. So they're saying black men's issue was a systemic one, and it still is, but they keep fighting black women. Black men's issue has been systemic. Black men's issues have been caused by white men, but instead of fighting white men, they're fighting black women's hair. The Negro man's uncertain employment prospects, matriarchy, and the high cost of divorce combine to encourage desertion, the poor man's divorce. They lied and said you left them for welfare when really they left you, and it caused you to have to get on welfare. Let's read it again. The Negro man's uncertain employment prospects, matriarchy, and the high cost of divorces combine to encourage desertion, i.e. abandonment, i.e. the poor man's divorce. Let's read it again. The Negro man's uncertain employment prospects. Notice that it's not mentioning welfare. Negro man's uncertain employment prospects, matriarchy, and the high cost of divorces combine to encourage abandonment, known as desertion, known as the poor man's divorce, known as they just left. They got up and left. You didn't put them out the house. They got up and left. So, increases the numbers of couples not married and thereby also increases the Negro illegitimacy rate. In the meantime, higher Negro birth rates are increasing. Even though black men are unemployed, they still out impregnating black women, acting like they don't know what's going on. Every time we go back to this report, nothing changes in black men's behavior. Basically, what they're saying is the broker black men got, the more children they created in poverty and in the hood. They did it on purpose. They're doing it on purpose. So we'll read it again. In the meantime, higher Negro birth rates are increasing the non-white population, while migration into cities like Detroit, New York, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. is making the public assistance roles in such cities even predominantly Negro, i.e. welfare. They said black men doing this, black men abandoning you, made it where the public assistance roles is becoming predominantly black because black men are abandoning their families. They didn't say that you getting on welfare caused black men to leave. They said black men left because they couldn't get a job. The community was matriarchy. Divorces cost too much, so they were deserting their families and not getting married, but creating more children in the hood. They knew they couldn't provide for these children, but they were still creating them in the hood, forcing black women to have to go get on welfare. Black men forced black women to have to go get on welfare, and then they spent the last 50 years lying on black women. Lying on you. But you think black men love you. And they went on a whole public media campaign lying on you. They know they left, but they lied and said you kicked them out for a book of food stamps. Meanwhile, they left you because they couldn't provide for them families that they was creating. So they left one family to go create another family and leave another black woman to take care of it on their own. They've been doing this since they stepped off the plantation. Robin M. Williams Jr. in a study of Elmira, New York. And this is about to blow your mind. Are you ready? Let's make this bigger. We're going to make this bigger so you can hear the tale of the married single mother. Because y'all think that black women, when they were married, you think they had a providing husband? Absolutely not. Robin M. Williams Jr. in a study of Elmira, New York. I want y'all to see this. That's why we made it bigger. Only 57% of Negro adults reported themselves as married, spouse present, as compared with 78% of Native white American Gentiles. Only 57% of black women who were married had their husband there. So I'll say it again, less than 60% of the black women married, less than 60% of them, less than 57%, less than 60% had their husband there. The rest of them were married single mothers. 91% of Italian American and 96% of Jewish informants. Or of the 93 unmarried Negro youths interviewed, 22% did not have their mother living in a home with them, and 42% reported that their father was not living in the home. The 22% who didn't have their mother, they probably didn't have their mother because black men sold some crack to them. Probably. So while black men were using crack to extract mothers from the home, they were walking out on their own. "42% reported that their father was not living in the home. 1/3 of the youth did not know their father's present occupation, and 2/3 of the sample of 150 Negro adults did not know what occupation their father had been in. Do you see the high percentage? Do you see the consistent, he just didn't have no damn job? I want y'all to see how black men were consistently broke, but lying and telling you that there was an era where they were providing for you. When? What era was it that black men were providing for black women? Because I ain't finding it. 1/3 of youth did not know their father's present occupation, and 2/3 of a sample of 150 Negro adults did not know what the occupation of their father's father. So they don't know their daddy's occupation and they don't know their granddaddy's occupation. Black men being broke was generational. 40% of the youth said that they had brothers and sisters living in other communities. Black men being on a hood rat stroll. They been out here hood ratting it up. Black men being acting like thoughts. Because you got 40% of the youth saying that they got siblings living in other households. A whole 40%. A whole 40% of married black men probably were out there creating alternate families. Being hood rats. Another 40% reported relatives living in their home who were not parents, siblings, or grandparents. Failure of the youth. Williams' account of Negro youth growing up with little knowledge of their fathers, less of their father's occupation, still less of the family occupational traditions, is in sharp contrast to the experiences of the white child. I want y'all to look at this. I'm going to read this over. Because I'm telling y'all, we're going to go over this with a fine-tooth comb. So obviously, we're going to have multiple cycles of this. Look at this. Williams' account of Negro youth growing up with little knowledge of their fathers, less of their fathers' occupations, still less of the family occupational traditions, and is in sharp contrast to the experience of the white child. The white family, despite many variants, remains a powerful agency not only for transmitting property from one generation to the next, but also for transmitting no less valuable contracts with the world of education and work. In an earlier stage, the carpenters, Wainwrights, weavers, mercers, farmers, Smith acquired their names as well as their trades from their fathers and grandfathers. Children today still learn the pattern of work from their fathers, even though they may no longer go into the same jobs. White children without fathers at least perceive all about the patterns of men working. Negro children without fathers flounder and fail. So they're saying with the white community, they're saying even if white kids don't have their father in the home, because of their community structure, because of the fact that most of the men in their community follow the father structure, even if they daddy ain't home, they still learn the working, the patterns of men. They're saying if a black child does not have a black father, there's nobody in the community to teach them the patterns of men. They're saying that their culture Their culture will teach the male's manhood. Black culture does not teach the male's manhood. There's no structure where males will understand what manhood is, because black men have dropped the ball. The majority of them are. They're saying if a white father does not teach a white son manhood, some white man in that community is going to show them manhood. That ain't gonna happen in the black community. It ain't gonna happen. Not always to be true. The Negro community produces its share, very possibly more than its share, of young people who have something extra that carries them over the worst obstacles. But such persons are always a minority. The common run of young people in a group facing serious obstacles to success do not succeed. Meaning the black women who think they son ain't gonna get sucked into black male culture is delusional. They saying your son can't be born with enough resilient traits to make it be able to withstand black culture. They saying you ain't producing offspring that's strong enough to withstand black man culture. You're not. You think you are. You think that your son is gonna, oh, it's not gonna be my son, or I'm just gonna raise my son good, I'm gonna raise him differently. They saying you think that's gonna happen, but that ain't gonna happen. They're saying genetically your stock is not going to create a strong male that's going to be able to withstand black male culture. You're not going to create it. Black women think they are, though, because that's black women's arrogance. Ain't created it yet, but they think they go create that exceptional black man. And in an effort to prove they can create the one exceptional black man, they bringing in a lot of demonic dust that they don't care about. Yep, Nikki, every black woman think her son gonna be different, and her son is the same bandit as the last one. Mrs. Truth-Teller said, my black son lives in a predominantly white neighborhood away from black men. Again, just like they said, even if they grow up in a middle class, they still go get sucked into it. So hopefully your son won't, Mrs. Truth-Teller, but the trajectory is he's still gonna get sucked into it. He's still going to. A prime index of the disadvantage of Negro youth in the United States is their constantly poor performance on mental tests that are a standard means of measuring ability and performance in the present generations. Meaning, they said black men are constantly scoring low on their IQ. They're saying black males are consistently scoring low on their IQ. There is absolutely no question of any genetic differential. So they're saying there's no genetic differential. Intelligence potential is distributed among Negro infants in the same proportion and pattern as among Icelanders or Chinese or any other group. And if there was a deviation, it would be a higher one. If there was a genetic propensity, you would be smarter. But the bottom line is they're saying the black culture is the problem. American society, however, impairs the Negro potential. The statement of the Haryu report that there is no basic disagreement over the fact that Central Harlem students are performing poorly in school may be taken as true for Negro slum children throughout the United States. Again, if you raise your kid in the hood, it ain't gonna matter what's going on. Stop raising your kids in the hood. You're giving them a disadvantage. 8th grade children in Central Harlem have a median IQ of 87.7, which means that perhaps a third of the children are scoring at levels perilously near to those of retardation. IQ declines in the first decade of life, rising only slightly thereafter, meaning raising your kids in the hood is making them dumber. I'll say it again. Raising your kids in the hood is making them dumber. Stop raising your kids in the hood. The effect of broken families on the performance of Negro youth has not been extensively measured, but studies that have been made show an unmistakable influence. No, this ain't the case because black girls are raised in those same hoods and they doing better. Martin Dutch and Burt Brown, investigating intelligence test differences between Negro and white first and fifth graders of different social classes, found that there is a direct relationship between social class and IQ, meaning stop raising your kids in the hood. Because if there is a direct relationship between social class and IQ, then you as black women are even intellectually oppressing your kid by raising it in the hood. Stop raising children in the hood. As the one rises, so does the other, but more for whites than Negroes. This is surely a result of housing segregation referred to earlier, which makes it difficult for middle-class Negroes to escape the slums. Because of housing discrimination, you are relegated to the hoods. That's less of an issue now than it was back then. But instead of black men fighting for housing equality, they were in the Supreme Court fighting for access to white women's vaginas. That's what they were doing. They could have been fighting for housing equality. They chose not to. It wasn't as important as white women's vaginas, unfortunately. The authors explain that it is much more difficult for the Negro to attain identical middle or upper class status with whites, and the social class gradations are less marked for Negroes because Negro life in a caste society is considerably more homogeneous than is life for the majority group. Therefore, the authors look for background variables other than social class, which might explain the difference. One of the most striking differences between the Negro and white groups is the consistently high frequency of broken homes and resulting family disorganization in the Negro group. Black men choosing to not raise their kids is creating a bunch of problems. We should probably stop choosing to create children with black men. Further, they found that children from homes where fathers are present have significantly higher scores than children in homes without it. So they're saying with the father absent, the mean score was 90.79. With the father present, it went up 7 points, almost 8 points. The influence of the father's presence was then tested within the social classes in school grades for Negroes alone. They found that a consistent trend within both grades at the lower SES social class level appeared, and in no case is there a reversal of this trend. For males, females, and combined group, the IQ of the children with fathers in the home are always higher than those who have no father in the home. Of course, that will make sense though. The author says that broken homes may also account for some of the differences between Negro and white intelligence scores. The scores of fifth graders with fathers absent were lower than the scores of first graders with fathers absent. And while the author points out that it is a cross-sectional data and does not reveal the duration of the father's absence, what we might be tapping is cumulative effect of fatherless years. It seems like that they would have to. Now we're going to get into dropout. We about to get into the dropout rates, because the reality is, even saying the social class, that wouldn't explain why black men are failing, because again, Black girls grow up in the same circumstance. So yeah, we can look at this for what it is, but we also have to consider that Black women are and have always been doing considerably better than Black males, despite growing up in the same circumstances. Yep, yeah, Sunnyside it is. That's exactly why. It gives the mother more time to help the kids with schooling. It does. Yep. Or the father, or whichever one of them is helping, it does. You're absolutely right. The difference in ability to perform has its counterpart in statistics on actual school performance. Non-white boys from families with both parents present are more likely to be going to school than boys with only one present parent, and enrollment rates are even lower when the parent is present. Of course it is. Of course, because if a boy is growing up in a home with a mother and he's a teenager and he's bigger and stronger than the mother, if the mother can't make him go to school, he ain't gonna go. But he will listen to his father because he know he can't overpower his father. So if his father take your delinquent ass to school, guess what he gonna do? Take his delinquent ass to school. So yeah, when you're using the size and the authority of a man to get another male to acquiesce, then of course, males would do better. Of course, they will be least likely to drop out of school if they daddy there. When the boys from broken homes are in school, they do not do as well as the boys from whole families. Grade retardation is higher when only one parent is present, and highest when neither is present. The loneliness of the Negro youth in making fundamental decisions about education is shown in a 1959 study of Negro and white dropouts in Connecticut high schools. They've been dropping out since at least 1959, y'all. Do y'all see how this has been a consistent problem with Black males not going to school, dropping out of school, performing poorly in school? Let's get into it. Only 29% of the Negro male dropouts discuss their decision to drop out of school with their fathers, compared with 65% of white males. Yeah, because their father ain't there for them to talk about it with. In fact, 26% of the Negro males did not discuss this major decision in their lives with anyone at all, compared with only 8% of white males. And see, white males can do better when they drop out of school, number one, because of obviously systemic racism, but also because they have a male helping them navigate life without an education. A study of Negro apprenticeship by the New York State Commission Against Discrimination in 1960 concluded, Negro youth are seldom exposed to influences which can lead to apprenticeship, meaning they don't have any good examples of working males. Negroes are not apt to have relatives, friends, or neighbors in skilled occupations, nor are they likely to be in secondary school where they receive encouragement and direction from alternate role models. So you know they're talking about the males. They're talking about the males because females, Negro females were doing good in school. So they're talking about the males. Nor are they likely to be in secondary school where they receive encouragement and direction from alternative role models. Within the minority community, skilled Negro models after within the minority community, skilled Negro models after whom the Negro youth might pattern himself are rare, while substitute sources which could provide the direction, encouragement, resources, and information needed to a shield skill crafting standings are non-existent. So basically, Black males don't have no Black male role models to show them anything. They don't have no male role models for work. They don't have no male role models for school at all. They have none. Delinquency and crime. The combined impact of poverty, failure, and isolation among Negro youth has the predictable outcome in a disastrous delinquency and crime rate. In a typical pattern of discrimination, Negro children in all public and private orphanages are a smaller proportion of all children than their proportion of the population, although their needs are clearly greater. On the other hand, Negroes represent a third of all youth in training schools for juvenile delinquents. It is probable that at present, a majority of the crimes against the person, such as rape, murder, and aggravated assault, are committed by Negroes. There is, of course, no absolute evidence. Inference can only be made from arrest and prison population statistics. The data that follow unquestionably are biased against Negroes who are arraigned more casually than are whites, but it may be doubted that the bias is great enough to affect general proportions. So they're saying black men, but even here, if you look at forcible rape, they're talking about a percentage of the population in proportion. So they're talking about percentages because, as you see, in raw numbers here with forcible rape, white men obviously commit more. Aggravated assault, white men obviously create more. However, murder and non-negligent manslaughter, black men do more, marginally more. Again, on the urban frontier, the ratio is worse. 3 out of every 5 arrests for these crimes were Negroes. In Chicago in 1963, 3/4 of the persons arrested for such crimes were Negro. In Detroit, the same proportion held. In 1960, 37% of all persons in federal and state prisons were Negro. In that year, 57% of the homicide and 57% of the assault offenders committed to state institutions were Negro. I'm going to end it here because this is going into crime. We already got out of education. I'm going to leave the next 17 minutes for people to come up if they have questions or if they have comments. Each person will get 1 minute. There will be a timer. And once you are done saying what you have to say about the topic at hand, you have to drop down so somebody else can come up. So I'm going to post a link. So whoever wants to come up, and if you want to comment, you can. At the top of the hour, hold on for a second. I'm looking for my chat box. Y'all, sorry. Okay, here it is. This is what I'm looking for. I was looking for the YouTube chat. So here is the link. One person at a time can come up. When one person is up, everybody else will be in the back room because I don't want to get too many people up here and then things get weird. So let me start the clock. So if people want to come up, they can come up, and we have a timer. I put the timer on 1 minute. I wish I could give y'all more, but 1 minute is plenty. Okay. And whoever wants to come up can come up. Because I think this information is interesting. You said I got more videos on Patreon than your videos here. Yeah, so let me just say that my content is on Patreon. My content, oh, this person needs to connect. Oh, they dropped off. Never mind, somebody was on there. My content is on Patreon. You will see scrolling across the screen my Patreon address, how to get there. That is my Patreon. All the content is there. If you want to subscribe to the Patreon to get the content, there is multiple different tiers. If you don't want to subscribe on a monthly plan, you can buy a la carte videos and live streams. So it's flexible. There's a way for everyone to be able to access the content. If you do not want to subscribe, you don't have to, but in order to see the content, you do have to subscribe. You will have to. And when I say you do have to subscribe, you have to subscribe to a paid tier in order to see the content. So if you guys want to, you can go over there. The address is scrolling across the screen. Thank you so much to Brooklyn. Brooklyn is also putting the link in the chat box. So thank you so much. Thank you ahead of time to whoever decides to subscribe. And thank you so much to Brooklyn for putting the link there. Thank you to everybody who has been continuing subscribers. Thank you so much. The support literally is the reason why we have this. It's the reason why we have this. We're going to continue to do Patreon, but even for people who don't want to subscribe to Patreon, I'm having a website built, so there will be another way that you can access. It'll be a different type of content on the website though. The YouTube type stuff will stay on Patreon. The website will have different content, but the people who are subscribed to certain tiers on Patreon, you will have access to the content on the website. Anyway, but we'll work out those details later when the website is built, because it's not right now. It's getting built. But I want y'all to understand why we are going over the Moynihan report, and we'll go over other reports too, because the Moynihan report isn't the only report that tells the truth about what's been documented in the Black community. What's been going on is that Black men have been lying on Black women. For the people in the back room, you have to connect to audio before I can let you up. StreamYard literally won't let me let you in until you connect to audio. You have to. Okay, there you go. Hey, BYE, how are you?
Hey, Sin, how are you?
Good. I'm starting the time now for the 1 minute, and when the timer go off is done, but I'll yield the floor to you.
I just want, the numbers, people hate when you have facts, and by people, you know who I'm talking about. They hate that you are actually able to present facts, modern facts. And I've been left with the question, and I wonder if anyone studied it. Certainly you can do the research because you have a mind for it, to keep it, to compile it, and to present it. It's amazing. My question is, has anyone ever actually studied the possibility that modern men today think they are and think they hail from, and think about the work that the men that they think about do, if you understand? Is it possible that the gene for that type of man out by earlier, those ancestors that had no qualms about fighting and dying rather than kneeling and yesoming for the rest of their freaking life? So I'm wondering if if it was a gene or something that just completely died out.
So here's the thing that we have to understand. On the plantation, there was a lot of selective breeding going on. They were trying to breed big, strong, buff, docile males. So I think we too often don't consider the role of selective breeding on the plantation and the weak ineffectiveness that we're experiencing in Black men now. Because we need to understand that the selective mating on the plantation was done specifically to the males. They were selectively mating for the males. I don't think that they were selectively mating to do big, strong, docile black women. They weren't doing that. They were doing that with the males. So the group of males that we're dealing with now, the only way, if the way that they came into existence was through selective mating, the way to reverse it is selective mating. But black women don't want to do that. Black women don't want to selectively mate. So therefore, we can't get the weakness out of the gene pool, basically. But I'm gonna go ahead and
You're
and
wonderful,
let
Sin.
you.
Keep it up.
Yeah, this is gonna stay up for sure. But I'm
Keep up
gonna
the
go
good
ahead
work,
and
Sin.
thank you so much. I'm gonna let you go down, and I'm gonna get LH up because she's up here. Okay.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, Sinji. I have been a subscriber for years. Love the platform. I am a reformed black male worshiper as of 19, probably 84, something like that. I've learned my lesson a long time ago. And I'm a senior sinner, which means I'm 60 plus. So I'm an
Oh
old
wow, you
gal.
sound really really young.
So just hear me out. I just want to say that I am so grateful for this platform and the message that you are getting across. This needs to be presented on a global scale. Sin, I swear to you, there is so much that we have been lied to about and so much that we have been falsely taught, and I lived it. All of those analogies and things that you mentioned, I lived that. In growing up in South Central Los Angeles, I grew up in Compton, California, in the hood. I remember, our textbooks always being 10, 15 years behind our other counterparts. But the drive that was instilled in me to succeed was basically, my parents told me that you go to college or you die. And so,
Yeah.
going back to the hood was never an option. Once you left, you don't come back. And so I just want to tell you, I am so grateful for the platform and the message that you're conveying to this larger, younger audience, especially to these young women, because once again, we have been duped, and I am a product of that. And I'm grateful for you, and I hope that this message will continue to fan out and burgeon out on a larger scale, because the truth needs to be told. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, I believe that I don't necessarily believe that when I first came to YouTube, I was putting out the incorrect message per se, but I don't think that I was aligned where I needed to be. And I think that throughout being on YouTube, I found where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing. And I do believe it's this, because at the end of the day, yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely not. Let me just get you out of here. Tell me why a bandit done came up in this back room with his whole dick out.
Oh, Lord. It's so ignorant. It just, the level of immaturity and stupidity of some of these bandits.
It didn't even really have a lot of inches on it. So my issue is how you gonna come up here with a dick that don't even got all the inches that you have. You're not gonna be on no camera with your dick in your hand and you don't got the right amount of inches. I don't see enough. I don't see enough dick coming out from under your hand for you to be on here with your dick out. You just need more inches, buddy.
And yet we continue to give birth to them. That's what I say. Crazy. Thank you for your time, Sin. Thank you, chat. I love you guys. Have a good day.
You're welcome. And the fact that he thought he was gonna be up here, the fact that he thought, I don't know if he knew that I could see in the back room what he got going on. So why would you be up here beating your little, he trying to beat the dust off his meat. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, how you gonna be up here trying to beat the dust off your little meat? If you don't put that little meat away and stop it, you got your little sausage, your little hot link out. If you don't get out of here, I might go make me a hot link, actually. Actually, I might go make me a hot link, but the fact that you got your little hot link on here is a problem. That's a problem. How much do I think it was? Maybe 5. Maybe 5. Yeah, no, YouTube would have shut this whole thing down if I was dumb enough. See, the thing is, you would have had to wait till you got up here to take your little dick out. You would have had to wait till you get up here to do that. But you in the back room with your dick out, and it just don't make no sense. Like, sir, we on business hours, sir. Do you not have some business? Because I don't know why you got your dick out in it's business hours. You ain't got no damn job. And see, that's the thing. Bandits are always trying to focus way too much attention on being a damn hood rat. You know you a hood rat bandit when you come up on somebody's live stream. You ain't even got on the panel yet and you got your dick out. Just no self-control at all. None. Not a drop of self-control. This is why a lot of black men be getting fired, because they want to go in their workplace and take their dick out and put it all on the board meeting table. They're like, ain't nobody got time for this. No one has time. We over here talking about real business, and he in the back room with his dick out as if somebody said they were interested. No one said they were interested. And you definitely didn't have enough inches for me. And I ain't even saying he didn't have no inches. I ain't even saying he didn't have no inches, but if you would have had some inches, I would have even left you in the back room. I would have just looked at your inches. I would have just been over here quietly laughing to myself, knowing I'm over here looking at inches and y'all not. But the fact of the matter is, you decided to come on here and take your inches off. I don't know what's wrong with your bandits, but you're not coming over here with your face wiped in tissue. A bandit done wrapped his face in tissue and got on here. I wish I could show you what's happening in this back room. I wish I could. Because a bandit got up on here looking like the broke version of Jason. He can't afford the actual white mask, so he just wrapped his face in tissue. Like, really? Like, no, I really want y'all to see. I want y'all to see this broke Jason mask that this dude had on here. Come back up here. I think he came up here and realized that I said I can see what they doing in the back room. And so he decided to jump off. Yeah, a fake Michael Myers. Let me see what Jason's mask was. Let me see if Jason had a white mask. Jason from Five. I want to see it because there was Jason from Five. No, Jason got a white mask too. Look, y'all, Jason got a white mask too. So this bandit, he could have been either or. He could have been Michael Myers. He could have been Michael Myers or Jason. See, this is Jason's mask. His white face mask. Let me see what Michael Myers got. Michael Myers versus Jason. Oh, they both got white face. Okay. Okay, yeah. They both white face in it. But it would be more like Michael Myers. So you're right. It would be more like Michael Myers. But yeah, he came up here, whole face wrapped up in tissue. Because bandits are playing. I'm telling y'all, bandits are always on playtime. They always up here trying to do something weird. They just weirdos being weird in the back room. Like, why you on a live stream just being weird in the back room? Like, it just don't even, like, they can't be normal. Like, there's literally something wrong with them. If y'all just can't be normal. Like, it just don't make no sense. But anyway, y'all, I'm about to get off of here. Y'all, last night I made me some broccoli beef for dinner. I made actually broccoli beef. It's authentic. It tastes really good. I think I'm about to go have me some broccoli beef and clean my living room, because what I didn't do is wash them dishes last night. What I didn't do What I didn't do is wash them dishes or clean that living room last night. That's what I didn't do. So I'm going to go eat some broccoli beef, play some music, and twerk around the living room while I'm cleaning up. I really am. The twerk around the living room while I'm cleaning up, that part is actually real. I am actually. Oh, hi, Jaspy. What you doing? You just laid out on the floor? Jasper just laid himself out on the floor. But anyway, all right, yeah, I'm about to twerk around the living room while I'm cleaning up. And hopefully the next time a bandit chooses to take his dick out in the back room, make sure you got enough inches. For me, you got to have 8 or above. I need 8 or above. So if you come on here, keep in mind, I can eyeball 8 inches. So don't come on here thinking that I can't eyeball 8 inches. If you go come up here and if you go be in my back room with your dick out, you need to make sure you got 8 or more inches with girth. Thank you, Jay. And you better be girthy too. Don't come over here with no pencil dick. Bring me some inches and some girth. If you can't get all the inches, give me a lot of girth, because where you lacking in inches, you can make up for in girth. But I don't even want to see it, and it don't have enough inches. I don't even want to look at it, and it don't have enough inches. That's why he got dropped. I dropped him down because he didn't come with enough inches. If not, he'd still be up here in the background, and I'd just be watching him in the background. But you ain't got that many inches. But anyway, yeah, Jasper the cat. Here, let me, I'll show you Jasper if you ain't seen him. Oh, Jasper, you don't want to be on display, you big buddy? But you got these cute big eyes. Why you don't want to be on the display? What big eyes you got, Jasper? Woo! Jasper know when I'm about to put him on camera, and I don't think he likes. Hold on, sorry. I meant to play it. This is Jasper. He's big buddy. Ain't he big? He only one, and he this big. He want to get down though. He don't want to be up. Oh, you don't want to be up. You don't want to be over here. Buddy, you don't like it. He said no. He said he don't like it. That's Jasper and his cute little face. All right, here you go, buddy. There you go. I know. Yeah, he don't like it. He don't want to hear. He don't want to be on display because he knows when I'm about to put him on camera, and he don't like it. Sasha's somewhere in here. Sasha probably downstairs under the couch or something. She's somewhere. But all right, I'll see y'all tomorrow for Patreon. Again, if you're not subscribed to Patreon and you want to subscribe, the Patreon address is scrolling across the screen. You can go to patreon.com/Cynthia G and it'll come up. And that is my Patreon. And tomorrow we will be back. We got a lot to go over, y'all. We got quite a bit of stuff to go over tomorrow, so we would be going over it. But next Monday, we will be coming back to do more on the Moynihan report. We will be coming back, and we're going to continue to debunk the lies, because it's not okay for Black men to think they get to just continue to lie on Black women. So we gonna keep debunking propaganda. But y'all have a good evening, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.